The first time I was introduced to Madam Web, I was a young lad watching the 90s animated Spider-Man series. She was this old, mysterious, blind woman. There was no Spider-Verse. There was just this old lady that showed up every once in a while to confuse my child brain. Now, if you asked that young lad, "Hey, little Maguff, would you be interested in seeing a Madam Web origin story?" Would you give a single shit, let alone two whole shits, about that? They also don't establish why she's called Madam Web, other than, this older woman taking in these younger women that don't have anywhere else to go, that are in trouble because a man is after them. Kind of leans into that other definition of a madam. Okay. The year is 2003. Cassandra Webb is a paramedic. She's loosely connected to these three chicks, and then fate brings them together. Maybe it isn't fate. Maybe it's girl power. So these three chicks are being hunted down by a guy that had a bad dream. So then, teaming up with Madam Web and combining their girl power, they try to survive. So you got Dakota Johnson as Madam Web, and she's fine. She was doing her best to act serious, but you could tell she was working with a bad script. So while this character's figuring out she can see into the future, she's also trying her best to wrangle these teenagers that refuse to go home. She brings them into her protection like a true madam. So these teens apparently are gonna be spider chicks someday. They all don't know each other, and these actors have zero chemistry. And I hate to say it, this is Sydney Sweeney's worst performance. She's terrible in this, and I've already heard a couple people like, "Well, I'll go see Madam Web because at least I can see Sydney Sweeney." This is the most amount of clothes I've ever seen that girl wear. Actually, I just saw a trailer of a movie where she plays a fucking nun. And in that trailer, she wears less than she does in this movie. A nun.
Hey! Can't you see this woman's a nun?
And the other girls are whatever. The villain is fucking terrible. Straight up bad acting. And this dude's motivation, very dumb. Apparently, he has this frequent dream that these teenagers are gonna kill him someday, and he can't die because he came from nothing and now he's rich and he doesn't want to lose everything. That's it. This asshole, it's 2003, all right? He hires a hacker to locate these girls. There's not cell phones, so they have to find a way for him to have access to the technology to find these girls, and he hires this random hacker to find them. And this poor woman is working so hard and doing such a good job. She finds these girls like 3 times within 2 days. "I will lose everything. You must find these girls." Bro, it's 2003. Oh yeah, and for some reason, Uncle Ben is a paramedic with Madam Web. I swear he's in this just to give the audience references that he is, in fact, Spider-Man's uncle. He's like, "Hey, this is weird, but my sister is pregnant, and she's gonna have a kid pretty soon. I can't believe I'm gonna be an uncle. I wonder what she's gonna name my nephew." She's gonna name him Peter. Well, when it comes to the most recent live-action Sony Spider-Man movies, they don't have a very good track record with me.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I think these movies are stupid. Okay. It's not good. It's been about 24 hours since I've seen this, and after some serious consideration, I think this might be the worst one. I actually think this might be worse than Morbius. Was there anything that I actually liked? Well, There's some decent banter between Uncle Ben and Cassie. And if you take a step back and look at what I just said, the two most experienced best actors in this have good banter together. That's pretty much it. I really don't like this movie. I think it's pretty fucking bad. The story is dumb and surprisingly boring. There's not a ton that actually happens, and there's no depth to the story. Like, I was not invested in what was going on ever. The script is laughable. Anytime there was a group of characters that was just left to talk to each other, I found myself cringing so hard. As Cassie is developing her powers, they hit you with this loud, jarring noise. I wasn't a fan of that. It's like a jump scare without anything actually scary popping up in front of your face. I know that teenagers are supposed to be annoying and stupid, but goddamn, these teenagers were so stupid and so annoying. I know we're hiding from this man that's trying to kill us, but I'm just so hungry, and you won't like me when I'm hangry. Maybe at the diner we'll run into some boys. Are you fucking kidding me? The camera work is fucking wacky. You know how sometimes you see a character like fall down and the camera pans with them? That's very cool when it's used correctly. In this, they go crazy with that. It's almost as if they don't know what they're doing, but they want to trick us into thinking that they do. Here's something I found funny. Madam Web's power is to see into the future, so then she can change it if she doesn't like it, right? She keeps seeing what's gonna happen, and the thing that's supposed to happen could be a cool thing. But to prevent her death and protect these girls, she makes a change. The fundamental ability that this character has is changing something that the audience might actually find cool. So where there would be maybe a cool fight or murder, instead they just turn and run away. The majority of the action that we see in this are chase scenes. There are more cars that crash than characters fight. Yikes. By the end, our final big boss battle is basically at an Acme warehouse. Keep in mind, this is all before these teenagers have powers, so they use their girl power to fight the villain with fireworks from an Acme warehouse. Straight up Coyote and Roadrunner shit. I think without totally losing my cool, I've pretty much covered it. We never even get to see these girls get their spider powers. Were they thinking there was gonna be a fucking sequel? The only time we see them suited up are in a dream and some visions that Madam Web has. We never actually see them suit up. Yeah, it's shitty. There just aren't really any redeeming qualities here. Sony, once again, shits the bed. I kept wondering if anyone involved in this mess has actually ever read a comic book. This was how I felt the entire time.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Another banger from Sony, folks. If I had one word to sum everything up about Madam Web, it's lazy. It's an incredibly lazy effort at making a movie about a character that no one gives a fuck about. Do not bother seeing it. It's not even so bad it's good. It just sucks. Don't waste your time. Don't see it, okay? See ya. Subscribe! In the first scene of the movie, there's a woman taking a picture of a spider web. This woman in a Sony movie is using a Nikon camera, a company that produces some of the best cameras in the world, used a competitor's camera in the first shot of the movie. Some people might argue, hey, that opening scene is from 1973. Sony didn't make cameras back then, and I don't actually know if that's true. I don't give a fuck. This is not our reality. This is an alternate Spider-Verse reality. Maybe Sony made cameras in the 70s then. How fucking stupid do you have to be? That's Madam Web.